Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Celly Season. We haven't been uploading videos for a while, and that's really because life has taken over. But I am back now doing videos. And again, thank you so much to every single one of you that have been watching my videos. I just want to talk about the Arsenal Brentford game because that was a game that was very reminiscent. Look, listen, I will just cut to the chase because the people on Twitter, as started their agendas again and forgetting, the troubles that the perils that Aaron Ramsdale has done for us. I mean, of course, we're not gonna forget the pure fact that he has saved us last season. A couple of times we remember the Liverpool game. I think we go a season back. We can remember this save against Leicester. It probably is in the same season. I'm probably just misremembering. But we're just gonna cut straight to chase in regards to Aaron Ramsdale because he has shown himself. Maybe it's his age, and he doesn't really know how to play in the system. Maybe the system doesn't suit him. I don't know what is because it's not like his distribution is bad. We've seen it in the game. He can distribute very long. That long throw again, it was praised by all and rightly and quite rightly so. However, playing out with the ball in his feet is a massive liability. Before we go on and we start saying things like, oh, Raya would have made that mistake, or Raya would not have made that mistake, but he would have done this. Let's not compare. The reason why I say let's not compare is because these two are incomparable. Raya, it took a bit of time for him to find the same form as he had last season, but with Brentford, being the best, XG wise, but the best goalkeeper, XG saves, being being on that on top, being on the same level as Edison and Allison. So we can't forget that because he's now coming in good with that form. But the chances that the chances that Ramsdale, sorry, not Ramsey, that Ramsdale has had over this season, you can't say he hasn't had chances. We have to cast our mind back to the Fulham game in which we earlier this season we drew 2-2 with Fulham. Of course, we went on to lose against Fulham later on in the season 2-1, and of course Raya was in goal, but Raya was not making mistakes that cost the game. It was just the team as a whole. But when you watch Ramsdale play, it was Ramsdale mistake that led to the opener, really in the early minutes. And also, you watch the cup games. He's making howlers after howlers there. Again, I didn't do this video to pile on Ramsdale. I'm doing this video to say, listen, there's no need to actually start with the goalkeeping agendas saying, oh, Ramsdale is because the one thing I do like about Ramsdale is his mentality. I mean, he has picked himself up every single time. He showed it in this game, and that's why I think Arteta has given him the new contract despite signing Raya. Because in all fairness, I think Raya is going to move on to better clubs. I think he's a very ambitious person that will seek pastures elsewhere. That's just my opinion. I do think he will stay here for a while if Ramsdale remains patient and continues to ground himself and learn a bit more about this system. He can become good. He can, maybe, if he trusts Arteta, that is, because I do think Arteta likes him. I do think Arteta likes his mentality. I do think that he can become a great keeper for us because he's only 25. There is no rush to this because I keep going back to the example of Edwin van der Sar. He came in at 32 to Man United and he was playing for Fulham in his 30s. And he came good after a couple of spells that he fell off the pecking order at Inter, but he came into that Fulham team and Fulham were nobodies, but he reinvented himself. That could be Ramsdale when he's 27. He doesn't have to rush. Keepers don't have the same timeline as outfielders do. I think that's evident and has been evident. Of course, we have outliers like Casillas, all those people, but outliers like Casillas, Donnarumma, all those players that have started young and really continue to progress. Same with Buffon, etc. But that's usually outliers and not necessarily the mode of keepers. Again, I don't have examples to show keepers that have been, that have. I think you can even count Ben Lerner up in that. I think you can even count Manuel Neuer up in that because he didn't really hit his stride until like I think it was 24 something or 25. It's a different ball game for them. I'm not a goalkeeping expert, so I don't know. But those are just my thoughts based on what I've seen from the outside. I don't know what keepers think. I don't know how they react on all those things. I just want to put it out there that with Aaron Ramsdale, it's not something that he should be looked at. Is he better or not? Because let's be honest, even when Matt Turner was here, Matt Turner was putting out really great performances in the Europa League. He was doing really well, with the group stage that we had. Yes, of course, the players were not up to that standard, but let's be honest, if Arteta was ruthless and just, wanted to teach Ramsey a lesson, he would have just dropped him and put Turner in there. I mean, even looking at the performances that Turner is putting out now for Nottingham Forest, I would 100% believe that for Turner, it would have been something that he could have had those chances last season before Raya came. So again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves into saying that Ramsdale is the the best keeper there is, because at the moment it really isn't. He's erratic, he is not calm, and you can't say that that's the goalkeeping situation because that was him last season. Our defense is a lot more stable with Raya in goal. I don't know whether it's a thing that Arteta has to sit back and talk to him about and just reassure him in a way that he does have a few. I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm sensing is nothing has really changed in terms of Aaron Ramsdale being the way he is. Nothing has actually changed. He is always been erratic. He's always been eccentric, doing crazy stuff that we wouldn't even imagine. We can't forget the moments that we have had our, you know, like we I don't have words to describe this guy because he is a great keeper, but at the same time he has to really adapt his game a lot. But I want to give big props to Mikel Arteta because he has come good so much in the sense that the way that we have played against teams of the ilk of Brentford, of the ilk of Liverpool, top four, basically put top four middle teams and bottom six. With the way we play against them, the one constant has always remained. We have always restricted their chances, and we have always made sure that they don't have room to play. I think but I do think the Brentford game was a bit different in terms of that, and I will get into that in a bit. But I just want to say, in regards to Arteta, I don't know what he did to on what he said to Ramsdale to get him to come out here and and basically put out the performance that he did in the second half, because he was considerably much better, making different choices. But again, like I've seen some people say Raya would have come out for the Collins shot and grabbed it, but that's Raya. They have different styles. If Ramsdale believes grabbing it was the wrong option, and then he decides to stay back and he makes the saves that he did, I think that's merited. I think, but would Arteta want that in his team? Because he wants to concede as less set pieces as possible. He wants to concede as less. He wants to give less opportunities for the opponent to get a chance into the match. Would Arteta want that in his team? Probably not. He might want uh Ramsdale to come out and get the ball so that they can recycle possession and hit them on the transition. We don't know. But for what Ramsdale is good at, I think he has skills that is complementary for some games and not complementary for the other games. But in terms of how Arteta has managed his game, it was sublime. It was really, if you watch the game, you can see the dominance that we had, and you can see how well that we have done under him to get results that that seems out of that seems out of stretch. It's interesting because against the middle teams, we do find it a bit more harder to play against. Not the bottom teams. But I think the only exception to that is probably West Ham, the West Ham game that we beat them 6-0. The middle place table teams. Aside from that, uh, aside, I don't know what more to say in regards to Mikel Arteta. Aside from he has really drilled it into these men to really go out there and attack every single, and just not even seek to win the first, second, and third ball. That is what I saw today. Well, yesterday, but that's what I saw when I saw us play and the way that we control the game. I just want to go into the stats really quickly because I want to show you that dominance here, because and this is under stats. I like them because of, one second. Let me just correct that. There we go. Hello, editing, live editing there. But this is under stats. Basically, I like it when they show this graph, because it shows you how much chances that the team really had. This is very important here because this is from Ivan Tony. That was when Ramsdale was at a goal, and of course, if they had scored from that, you would have seen how much you would have seen it as a howler after howler. But again, Ramsdale comes good and saves that one. These were the chances that they had, and they didn't really convert. Sorry, and again, that shows it was a mistake. This shows that this was their best chance that they had all game. In terms, this day would be Brentford in this case. But when you look at this, they didn't have any quality chances. Just I think that's, like, if I can count quickly, that's 9 chances to our 17 or 18. We can create. This shows that very well. Kai Havertz's goal shows that, and it was basically a penalty. It was basically it was well worked for all the goals that we had. The only goal that was unlikely was a Declan Rice goal, which of course affects our XG. But in terms of all the chances that we created, it's no surprise that we ended up with a 1.59 XG in all of this, because what that shows is our ability to create chances and get goals from everyone. And I'm glad Kai Havertz is actually getting onto the score sheet to show what is really capable of, and what is you know that 65 million looks like a real bargain now, doesn't it? Because when you look at the stats that that we were playing at, the stats here, we actually had we not only created a lot of chances, but at the same time we really pushed them, restricted them, and really suffocated them in terms of um the deep statistics, which again shows uh all the passes that we have made around the third yard box. So that is the level of dominance that we were playing at in that game. And to be honest, if you just look at the stats, you may think of it as, okay, we kind of you know we're lucky to get the second goal in the 85th minute. You may look at it as, how are you struggling against Brentford? But if you watch that match, we didn't struggle against Brentford. We were suffocating them, and it was just a matter of time till they give in. Because if it wasn't for Mark Flecken, who was their goalkeeper, they would have been out of this game, like completely out of this game. And it was basically his saves and that kept them into the game. But even when he tried to save the Kai Havertz goal, that was not happening. So I just wanted to basically make this video to go over that, and to basically say get all my thoughts out in regards to Ramsdale, especially, and Mikel Arteta, because I have said over and over again that Mikel Arteta just needed time, and thank God it is shown now, because boy has it paid off, and we are now top. And I love nothing better than for my club to actually be top of the league going into the Man City and Liverpool game, which is today, which at the time of recording is Sunday. So I'm really happy to see them thrive the way they have in the the past few days. And I'm looking forward to watching the Man City game and the Liverpool game and see what I can glean from that. But I will be looking to make more and more content. But I have a lot. There is a lot more content that I want to make that is geared towards the off season, especially looking at how we can build from this team. Sorry, build from this season. Sorry, and continue to put out, see what players is best suited. I also collect my own stats. I also try and use the stats that are available on SBRef, and I try to uh, create my own metrics. So I will be looking forward to actually putting them out and seeing how well they are received, so that I can hopefully I can create a story or at least create some kind of nuance when it comes to these players, because I want to judge them at the end of the season, but at the same time I want to also give my commentary, which is what I'm doing here. It's not going to I don't want to focus too much on the individual player stats as of now. I want to do that at the end of the season when all is said and done, because right now I think that we need right now I think they need every Arsenal fan to get behind them rather than just chip at them, which is why I don't appreciate the Raya and Ramsdale talks, because Ramsdale has his flaws, Raya has his flaws, but if you want to look uh, on the season as a whole, Raya is a much better piece of business for us. And in my opinion, going forward, Ramsdale can refine his game, and I think if he trusts Arteta and the goalkeeping coaches that are there, I think he can 100% get better. He's young, he can learn. He doesn't need to be impatient and go elsewhere, because this is what happened to Joe Hart when Edison came. But for Man City, and Joe Hart just went on a complete, when he could have just easily just just sat back and and just learn a bit and try a fight for his place. But I don't want to go on too long about this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.